Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 21 video. In today's episode, we're going to be rebuilding the Baltimore Ravens with the new addition of Yannick Ngakoue. And Yannick Ngakoue reunites with Calais Campbell, and that creates the return of Saxonville, hopefully. And Yannick Ngakoue, I feel like he's been constantly traded. Well, he went from the Jags to the Vikings, and I feel like he's just been traded because maybe he wants too much money. I don't know for sure, but either way, guys, it is time to jump into this rebuild. And here we are with the overlook of the team, as we obviously have the MVP, Lamar Jackson, here. And obviously the GOAT, Trace McSorley, and Mark Ingram. I almost said Melvin Ingram. J.K. Dobbins, Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay, Nick Boyle, Mark Andrews, Orlando Brown Jr. This middle of the offensive line is all right, and we also have Ronnie Stanley. Defensively, this D-line is looking great. Linebackers are okay, I would say. Patrick Queen really does make up for it, and these defensive backs are great. Safeties aren't amazing, though. Chuck Clark used to be a start of them, and I believe. And I'm probably going to trade Matthew Judon because that's what the Ravens did in real life. Well, they haven't done it yet, but he's going to be a tag-and-trade player. And as a Ravens fan, I would say it's a good idea because he wants a lot of money that he doesn't really deserve. He hasn't done too much this year, so apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into the trades. And here we are with the first trade, as we're trading Mark Ingram and Matthew Judon for Calvin Ridley and a fifth from the Falcons. This is a big trade. We do need receivers, so I'm actually very, very happy with this trade. And next we are trading Jimmy Smith, Willie Snead, and LJ Fort for a first, a second, and a first from the New Orleans Saints. And now this is what the team looks like after the trades. And if you guys saw some unrealistic trades, it's mainly because of cap room, guys. We're definitely going to need it to re-sign all these players, especially Marlon Humphrey. I think the Ravens already did that, so I might not have to do that. But Lamar Jackson's going to be a big contract, and Yannick Ngakoue is going to be a big one as well. So everyone else here I'm not going to really worry about, and I'm going to start Devin Duvernay in the slot. So apart from that, guys, it is time to jump into the midseason mark. And here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a bye week, as we are 4-3 at the midseason mark, and we are third in the division as the Steelers and the Browns lead us, and the Browns are apparently 7-1. That wouldn't happen in real life, but we have big players to resign, such as Ronnie Stanley, and that's going to be a huge contract. His left tackle is the second highest paid position in the NFL, and he wants more money. Sam Cook, I'm not going to resign. Derek Wolfe, I guess I'll just have to see how he regresses. Tyus Bowser, I do want to resign because I feel like he's actually pretty good for a 76 overall, and he may progress into something, and he does resign with the team. And everyone else here I do not have an interest for. So apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Bengals, as we are 9-7 here to face the 13-3 New England Patriots, as the Browns win the division at 14-2. Lamar Jackson had a pretty solid season, 21st best offense, which isn't good, 9th best defense though. Lamar Jackson, 3,700 yards, 33 TDs, and 10 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins with 6 TDs and almost 1,000 yards. Receiving, Calvin Ridley, 1,100 yards, 8 TDs, and Devin Duvernay, 10 TDs. Pretty good for a rookie year. Defensively, I would say Patrick Queen with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss. It goes to 16 for Yannick Ngakoue, sacks 10 for Pernell McPhee, which is very surprising, and interceptions 5 for Marlon Humphrey. That's a lot. And safeties is 0, defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, boys, I would say that it's time to simulate this wildcard round against the 13-3 New England Patriots to see if we can move on to the divisional round. Can we do it? We do, as we're here to face the 14-2 divisional rival Cleveland Browns. We're going to simulate this too to see if we can move on to the AFC Championship. Can we do it? We do, as we beat them 35-31. We're here to face the 12-4 Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm gonna actually have to hop into this one, but apart from that, guys, let's just jump straight into this one. And here we are in the fourth quarter, less than 2 minutes left, 21-26. This one may be out of reach, as we are actually driving down the field. Third down alert, fourth down alert. I'll hop in here. And that will be the game, as we win 29-26, and Baltimore Ravens are moving on to the Super Bowl. So let's jump into it. And here we are in the Super Bowl here to face the 13-3 New Orleans Saints. I better hand them another loss. Drew Brees isn't getting another ring from me. But offensively, it looks like Calvin Ridley got to dev up with Energizer and Reach For It. Reach For It is such a good ability. And defensively, it looks like Patrick Queen is now a superstar development player with Deflator. I don't know what that is. But Jalen Ferguson here has star development now. And Marlon Humphrey has superstar X Factor. He should have honestly started with that. He's a beast this year with deep route KO and short route KO and shut down as his abilities. Everyone else here looks the same, but apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into this matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Now here we are to play the Saints, as it is 42-31, very high scoring game, unlike the Patriots and Rams game, but now it's 45-38, and that will be your ball game as the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl in the first year of the rebuild. Getting Calvin Ridley seems like the move. He definitely popped off this year, and the Baltimore Ravens once again win another Super Bowl. And your Super Bowl MVP is Lamar Jackson, 139 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, and 58.3% completion rate. He probably had some rushing touchdowns because 2 interceptions isn't really good on the stat sheet. But either way, let's jump into the offseason. Here we are in the offseason, as obviously the Ravens won the Super Bowl, and we have players to re-sign such as Ronnie Stanley and Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue, that's a huge contract. That's like Calais Campbell type contract. And he re-signs with the team. Obviously, I needed to re-sign him. That was a big contract, but he did need to stay with the team. He's the star of this video, and Ronnie Stanley stays with the team. Derek Wolfe, I feel like I can break on a weird deal. He only regressed 1 overall, which isn't too bad. So I feel like resigning him to 1 year isn't that bad. And he is not interested in signing $18 million to tag him. I'm not going to do that. And everyone else here, I do not have an interest for. So apart from that, boys, it is time to get into free agency. And here's the team after free agency. Offensively, we didn't really do too much, but defensively, we got Chidobe Awuzie, and he was a superstar development defensive back, and I moved him up to free safety because that's what we needed, and I did get a random punter just because why not? So apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into the draft. So guys, here we are in the draft as we're picking up a center, 73 overall, normal development, ranked number 16 in the class. And this is what the team looks like after the draft, as we did pick up our center. And defensively, we got a depth defensive tackle, nothing too insane, I would say, and a depth middle linebacker. So apart from that, boys, everything else looks good here. So I'd say that it is time to jump into the midseason mark. And here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we are on a bye week. And we are in 4 highly contested division, as the Browns are leading the division. And Mark Andrews needs to be re-signed, 90 overall, star development. Obviously want him back. And he re-signs with the team. Calais Campbell, I do want him back. That is a huge contract. That is really big. I'm pretty sure the Ravens only signed him for like $11 million a year, not $18 million a year. But he re-signs with the team. Orlando Brown Jr., he's going to need to stay. That's a big contract as well, and he stays with the team. Brandon Williams, I feel like he's just too old to re-sign. Patrick Ricard, I do want to keep around. I don't think a fullback really affects simulation too much, but it would be more realistic to re-sign him, and he does stay with the team. Nick Boyle is here. I already have Mark Andrews, and realistically, I just don't want to re-sign him in Madden terms. So apart from that, let's get to the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, coming off a loss to Vikings, as we apparently missed the playoffs in a highly contested division, as we finished at the bottom of the division at 8-8. The Bengals and the Steelers were also 8-8, but Lamar Jackson had a pretty good year, 11th best offense and 27th best defense. Lamar Jackson, 4,100 yards, 28 TDs, 15 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins, 5 TDs, almost 1,000 yards once again. Marquise Brown, over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Defensively, Patrick Queen with the most tackles on the team. Most tackles for a loss is 8 for Jalen Ferguson. Sacks, 8.5 for Calais Campbell. 2 interceptions for Marcus Peters. Safeties is 0, and defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, boys, I would say that it is time to jump into the offseason. Now here we are in the offseason as the Panthers beat the Tennessee Titans in the Super Bowl, so that's an interesting matchup. And looking into it, there's no one here that I really want to resign. I don't want to resign anyone, especially Deshaun Elliott. He didn't get a dev up, so that's pretty disappointing. But apart from that, boys, we're going to look into the team to see if there's any development upgrades. It looks like offensively we do stay the same, and defensively, I would say I don't see any dev ups here. And Calais Campbell looks like he retired, so that's pretty disappointing. But apart from that, boys, everything else here looks the same. So it's time to jump into free agency. And here we are after free agency. As offensively we look the same, and defensively we got Jair Alexander. I moved him from defensive back to strong safety, and he's got some pretty good abilities, so I'm pretty happy with this team. I'm definitely going to look to focus on D-line in the draft. So apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into this draft. And a defensive tackle, 77 overall, Norman, ranked number 2 in the class. We picked him up at number 9. He's going to be a pretty good fit for Leonard Williams. And next we're picking up a left end, Juan Swift, 74 overall, normal development, ranked number 11 in the class. We picked him up at number 11. Next we're picking up a left outside linebacker, Marvin Bryant, 74 overall, hidden development, ranked number 10 in the class. I'll probably move him down to edge. He seems pretty good. And next, this is what the team looks like after the draft, as apparently the CPU picked up a guard because I definitely didn't draft that guy. And defensively, I moved that left outside linebacker down to right end, so he'll be a pretty good edge threat. So apart from that, boys, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Now here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the New Orleans Saints, as we are 3-5 at the midseason mark, and we are 3rd in the division behind the Steelers and the Browns. And we have players to resign such as 99 overall superstar X Factor Lamar Jackson with the Truz ability, and he wants even more money. Calvin Ridley is going to be a big contract, and same with Marcus Peters. Calvin Ridley, this is going to be a really big contract, and he stays with the team. Marcus Peters, I don't really know if I want to re-sign Marcus Peters or Tavon Young. I'm probably only going to get to re-sign one of them. And Tavon Young is a lot cheaper, so I'll probably do Tavon Young. I may try it out, but I need to re-sign Jalen Ferguson first, so let me try that because I need these linebackers. And he does not resign, so that's kind of interesting. I'm going to try Tavon Young now, and maybe we'll have to let go Marcus Peters just because our cap hit is too high right now, and he stays with the team. So Jalen Ferguson and Marcus Peters are the players I need to resign at the end of the season. So let's jump into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Cincinnati Bengals, as we finish 8-8, second in the division behind the Browns, as Lamar had an actually pretty good season, a really good season, 11th best offense and the 24th best defense. 4,300 yards, 38 TDs, 14 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins, 5 TDs, almost 1,000 yards. Calvin Ridley, 1,100 yards, 9 TDs. And defensively, Patrick Queen with 153 tackles, 12 tackles for a loss, and 14 tackles for a loss for Jalen Ferguson. Not many sacks, 4 interceptions for Marlon Humphrey. Safeties is 0, defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into the offseason. Now here we are in the offseason as the Chicago Bears beat the Super Bowl, and we have players to re-sign such as Lamar Jackson, Marcus Peters, and Jalen Ferguson. We're going to be screwed on cap, so I'm going to try something here, and I'm going to completely lower Lamar's cap and say he wants to test out free agency, and then I'm going to try to re-sign Jalen Ferguson and Marcus Peters, and then tag Lamar, and we'll be in negative cap room, but we'll have them all back. And Jalen Ferguson doesn't resign. That is very surprising. Marcus Peters, I'm going to even up the salary on these guys. They should resign. And Marcus Peters doesn't want to resign either. I boosted salary and the bonus. What? Why would you not want to resign? Looks like we're tagging Lamar. I tried to boost their salary and then just tag Lamar so that way I can get all 3. That makes no sense. Why would you not resign with this team? I gave you more money. In Madden terms, you would resign. That doesn't make any sense at all. But apparently, Patrick Queen has Superstar X Factor. That's insane. And Tyus Bowser now has Star Development. So that's great. Patrick Queen, Selfless, and Deflator and Closer are his abilities. So that is great. And I'm probably going to move this defensive end to outside linebacker once Jalen Ferguson leaves. Now, we obviously couldn't do too much in free agency considering we tagged Lamar. But we're picking up a defensive back in the draft. Next, we're picking up a center who I'm probably going to move to guard. 77 overall, normal development, ranked number 2 in the class. We picked him up at number 48. And next, we're picking up a defensive tackle, 73 overall, hidden development, ranked number 22 in the class, so we picked him up at number 80. And now this is what the team looks like after the draft has improved. And defensively, this D-line has kind of like hit a hard plateau, like very, very low overall, but still, let's get into the midseason mark. And here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a win to the LA Rams, and we are 6-1, top of the division, above the 6-1 Cleveland Browns. We have players to resign, but just like every year in the final year, I do not need to resign them because it is the final year. So apart from that, boys, it is time to jump into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs with a first round bye, coming off a loss to the Browns, as we finish at top of the division at 12-4, as Lamar had a pretty good season, 8th best offense, well actually a really good season, 6th best defense. Lamar 4,100 yards, 42 TDs, 9 interceptions, rushing 4 touchdowns for J.K. Dobbins, but finally over 1,000 yards. Calvin Ridley 1,200 yards and 14 TDs. That's easily the best receiver. And defensively, Patrick Queen with the most tackles on team, most tackles for a loss, goes to Yannick Ngakoue, most sacks, 11.5 for the rookie defensive tackle. Interceptions is 7 for Patrick Queen, and safeties is 1 for Yannick Ngakoue, and defensive touchdowns is 1 for Chuck Clark, who's apparently a second string, so that's pretty interesting. And I'm going to look, Derek Carr wins MVP. Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to look to see if Calvin Ridley was the best receiver. Yeah, he was. Calvin Ridley was the best receiver. No surprise there. But apart from that, boys, it is time to simulate this wildcard round to see who we are going to be facing in the divisional round. And that team will be our division rivals, the 10-6 Cleveland Browns. This will be very interesting, but I'm actually going to simulate this game as well to see if we can move on to the AFC Championship. And we do, here to face the 11-5 Indianapolis Colts, and we are actually going to play them. I'm going to hop into this one as we beat the Browns 34-22. So apart from that, boys, it is time to hop into this AFC Championship matchup. And here we are in the AFC Championship as we are leading 28-21, now 28-28. 1 minute left in the game. And come on, big field goal kick, 31-28, and 31-28 is our final score as we are going to be moving on to the Super Bowl. And here we are in the Super Bowl, here to face the 12-4 Seattle Seahawks, as we are also 12-4, and we are going to be looking into the team to see if there's any development upgrades. And Calvin Ridley gets a development upgrade with double me as a superstar X Factor ability, so that is amazing. Sadly, Marquise Brown didn't go past a star development in this rebuild, but our defensive tackle now has star development, both of them, so that's very interesting. And apart from that, defensively we look the same. So it looks like we didn't need Jalen Ferguson or Marcus Peters, so let's jump into the Super Bowl. And here we are in the Super Bowl as we are winning 30-27 against the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson himself. And we are up 41-27 as we continue to pound them. And that will be your Super Bowl game as the Baltimore Ravens get their 4th Super Bowl ring. 41-27 is the final score in this Super Bowl, and that will do it. And I accidentally skipped the little highlights or whatever, but Lamar Jackson, it looks like Marlon Humphrey actually would have been your MVP with 10 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 TD. I would have definitely given him that. So Marlon Humphrey seems like your Super Bowl MVP. So apart from that, boys, that is going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed, because I know I did, rebuilding this team with the new addition of Yannick Ngakoue and Saxonville, who reunited. Saxonville didn't really last too long, but still, very interesting episode. Anyways, guys, apart from that, I will see you guys in the next one.